Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 8 breakdown for the Pro Play Games Greenville, South Carolina 3-on-3 Cup that happened this past weekend. It was 70 players with 7 rounds of Swiss, and it was also live streamed, so if you guys want to check that out, it's already been re-uploaded to their YouTube and edited to the rounds, so you guys can watch that there if you want to. And just big shouts to PPG for releasing the list so we can go over them too as well. So if you guys want any of those, they're here on my website and also on the PPG website and everything else. And also I have a bunch of other events here and all the regionals, and just you guys probably know by now. So anyways, going on into this event specifically, if you guys don't know how the 3-on-3 works, as the name implies, it's you and 2 buddies versus another team of 3. Whoever wins more games, so whoever gets the better record. So you could lose, but your 2 buddies could win, and that means that they carry you for the win, and you kind of go from there. So that's kind of how it works. That's the dynamics a little bit, because player A, where you sit depends on where you play against other people. So there's that. If you sit in the middle, you can help your buddies on the side and help coach them too from that. So it really is a team event, which is kind of rare in card games, but I really like how it works for One Piece, and just like the theme of like having a pirate crew and working with your buddies, I think is really fun and also very competitive at the same time. So, but jumping into the top 8 leaders for this event in general, and kind of just to remember, so there's only 8 teams, so there are 7 Newgates, but that really means is that every team but one of them had Newgate in their list. So 7 teams had Newgate, 6 teams had Law, 3 teams had Zoro, 3 had Katakuri, 2 had Rebecca, and then there's a single Monkey D. Luffy, 1 Donquixote Doflamingo, and a Nami as well. And if you guys look at the first place team and second place team, which we'll look at both these lists in a minute, they are the exact same, and they are the old reliable Newgate, Zoro, Law for all of those, which is not too surprising. I think those are generically still the best 3 decks in this format. And also, if we're looking at new leaders for this set, you only had 4 representations, right? 2 Rebeccas, 1 Donquixote Doflamingo. Actually, only 3, right? Yeah, only 3 representations, which is, I feel, still a little bit low for what it is. But then also, if you want to check out, I think all but 6 of the teams had a combination of Newgate, Law, or Zoro. So the 2 exceptions are 5th place, which was running Luffy, Newgate, and Dofi. So still 2 red decks, essentially. And then 6th place only had 1 red deck, which was Newgate, then had Katakuri and Nami. So red still doing very well. And I think with a team event like this, we get to see just how consistent it's been doing in general, too. I don't have, unfortunately, the full leader breakdown, since I think that would give more of a show of what people are playing and what it looked like, but that's kind of not available to us right now. But we're going to go over the top placing list for each one of these decks, and we're going to just kind of go over first and second place, since again they're the same decks and or same leaders, and I kind of just want to do like a compare and contrast between the 2 of them, and then from there the top placing single leader from individual teams as well. So going into our first place, so we have Mohammed on Newgate, and then you also have Christian on Newgate as well. So a little bit of difference in variety for this one. This was more of like the generic the Whitebeard version of it, since we have the Ezo for it. And we have a bunch of these just generically good Whitebeard pirates for you. We are running the 3 Gum Gum Red Hawk, which I've been seeing like somewhere between 2 and 4 copies have been moderately common across most, at least topping versions of Newgate. And then we also have just a bunch of 2Ks. Otama Machina, we also have the Mass Deuce, which sees some play. It is like an okay like turn 2 play if you want to kind of interact with our opponent and get rid of some of their small blockers. And it's a 2K, so it's not like really out of the question for that. And then just the regular Atmos, Speedo, Marco, Luffy, top end of Ace, Thatch, and Newgate from there. So that is Mohammed's list. And then if we look at Christian's list, it's more of like the hybrid variant, since we are seeing 4 Nami and 4 Ezos. We're also seeing no Otamas or Makino, which I think is a little surprising, but we're seeing 4 Sanjis, 4 Brooks, and then also the Jozu. So all of our 2Ks are searchable, which is quite nice. We're playing 3 Fosses, 3 Choppers, and then on the bottom end, we're playing on event side 4 guard points, 1 Rad Beam, 1 Red Hawk, and 1 of the Crossfire as well. Oh, there was 1, I clicked the wrong button, but 1 Crossfire as well, and that kind of rounds it out. So generically, like 2 different builds, kind of like probably like 30 cards the same for them, but still the same play style, and just kind of what variant you want to run is kind of the decision for that one. So that's Christian's list. Congratulations for their finish there. And then going to the Zoros, we do have Chris Sock on this first place Zoro list. list here. And then on the other side, we also have Hassan with theirs, which I think these two are different, which is also why I want to mention them as well. So I would say this is more of the standard build for Zoro, at least the standard event build of it, with a bunch of events. 13 to 12 to 14 events is usually what I see for it, which means that our buggy usually hits about half the time, which is good enough. In worst case, it's just a 1-drop 3k. We have our Dodons, we have our Namis, we have our Makis and Otamas for the Dodon. Blamenko's been more popular lately too, just being able to use this to trade into stuff, and the fact that it's a Whitebeard Pirates is good enough for us as well. And then our Brooks, our Jozus, our Zoros, and our other Brooks. So this was a little bit more of a tech choice for this one, but I do agree that if you're able to play it and keep it around, it does get a lot of value for you, especially since it makes a lot of things susceptible to Fire Fist, which is nice. It is a little bit slow, but otherwise I think it's a good card. And if you are going second, which I think that sometimes you want to take that away from some decks that need to go second, being able to play Brook on curve I think is a good play too. So we have that as well. And then our events are 1 Rad Beam, 4 Guard Points, Jambe, 2 Fiery Dolls, and 4 Fire Fists. So again, this is Chris's list, and then we also have Hassan's list here, which is more of like a aggressive build. So like I'd say like this is like more value and tempo in some regard. This one's more of just like straight up, I gotta go face, I gotta hit their face as hard as I can, as fast as I can. And it can do a really good job with that. So we're playing both Nami and Izo as our searchers, since we're not playing enough events to kind of facilitate Buggy. We have Gordon, which really only helps you get stuff into range for our Marcos here as well. But honestly, I still think this Gordon is such a good card for red in general. Like I know it stinks that it doesn't have a counter cost, but it's so tempting. Like the -3 does so much, especially in Zoro, where there is like potential to play it early and then use the attack with it. It wouldn't be too difficult with it, and then use the -3 afterwards. It's a very tempting card to run there. So and then we have Haruta, we have Brook, we have Vista as well, which can help you with Gordon to get like the double, like get something in a range of Vista, which is nice. Jozu, Zoro, and then also like the 4 Monkey D. Luffy top end, which I don't see 4 of these in Zoro as much anymore, but I will agree this is one of the best enders in the game, and being able to get rid of, not ignore the blockers essentially is big enough for that. And then otherwise we have 2 Table Manor Kick courses and a Rad Beam to round it out. So this list for Hassan on their second place finish. And then we have both Zoro lists, and honestly these ones are near identical, just some small ratio changes. And I guess we took out guard point for or I guess you have Nico Robin and guard point, and then we instead change it up for some ratios up top. But generally the same. These are both lists from Kevin, Zhao, and Alexander Crispin for those. So I don't really. You guys have started making fun of me when I get to the Trafalgar Law things, like, what does he say this time? Like, what card does he focus on? And like, I'm going to say nothing. Both these decks are good. Both these players are good. They deserve to be there. And Trafalgar Law, what's going on. There's nothing much to talk about. So congrats to both players. And we'll jump from there to our Charlotte Katakuri. So again, Charlotte Katakuri got 3 spots into our top 8, including 3rd and I believe 4th place. And what was that? 3rd, 4th. And I didn't say this earlier. 3rd and 4th also had the exact same team compositions almost. It was they do, yeah. It's Newgate, Law, and Katakuri. So I think that's also kind of telling about at least the strength of Newgate and Trafalgar Law, because Trafalgar Law had 6, so only 2 teams did not decide to take it and kind of go from there. And the other Katakuri was 6th place here, which is the more unique team, I guess, compared to the other ones too. But Katakuri I think is in a good spot in a lot of ways. I would say this one is pretty standard for it. The only difference I would say is that most lists that I've been seeing have kind of decided to drop Cracker, since it's not as good off of our life trigger. And we were seeing this one too. We're not playing any of the 6-cost pair of Espira, which is, I would say, more standard in the list too. So I wonder if this is more like an aggressive, like you hit cards and trigger, and more like aggressive tempo than like value tempo, I guess. So we're playing also 3 copies of Charlotte Linlin, which I don't see this card as often. Usually it's caps out at 2 if people play it at all. But again, if you play it on curve, I think that's strong for it and for the deck. And then you got your big top in that you're used to. 4 Thunderbolts, which is one more than I'm used to, but that is kind of the list there. So congratulations to Kyle for their finish on that one. And next up we have our Monkey D. Luffy. So this is Tommy's list, and Zoro and Luffy have been kind of compared since release of like what's the best red leader, since both of them are pretty generic for what they do. They have a lot of strengths in the same ways, and they both can take advantage of some of the good red cards. Luffy is definitely more of my playstyle for it, but I will definitely agree that Zoro is stronger right now. But I do think that this is, a list that's Monkey D. Luffy, and I think like the biggest mistake some people make is that when they make Luffy lists, they make them Zoro list that they just change the leader. So making it more kind of to Luffy's strengths of being able to manipulate the Dawn and get the advantage from that is very good. So one of the best cards for that, I think, is 4-drop Nico Robin. Being able to give it the Dawn on curve without having like to lose the Dawn available to you is really nice. We have the 4 Zoros, 4 Luffys, no copies of 5-drop Marco, which I'm a little bit surprised of, and then also 2 of the 9-drop Shanks, which I think that if Newgate was around, we'd maybe play this instead, but this is more aggressive for you. And there are a lot of decks that play these 2k or less blockers, which means you get to get around them pretty easily. And or you can even like use an Otama to get like a 4k blocker out of range of that, which is really nice. Other than that, we were playing Table Commander's Kick Course, Rad Beam, Red Hawk, Jet Pistol, and no copies of Fire Fist, which is again a little bit surprising. But I think if we have our Vistas and our Nico Robins, we don't really need to spend that time and energy to have Fire Fist and use both of them, which I think is strong. And then also we have 4 of the Kobe blocker, which I don't think I've ever seen in a deck before. It's tempting. It is a 3k, which is really unfortunate because a lot of things do get like Marco pops this, which is really relevant, but is a block you get to play off of a life trigger, which is nice. If this had a counter cost, I would have been okay with it, or even if this is like what we get for the other ones, a 3-drop 1k with blocker and a trigger, play this card, and then also has the counter. I've probably considered playing this more often, but the lack of counter is really like rough sometimes. But other than that, I think the deck is really interesting. I like Luffy a lot as a play style, and congratulations to Tommy for their finish there. Next up, we have our only Donquixote Doflamingo. We have Mubariz, I believe, Mubariz, with Donquixote Doflamingo. I'm so sorry, that was probably super wrong. But we've been seeing a good amount of Donquixote Doflamingo. I think of the 3 leaders that people play the most out of OPO4, Donquixote Doflamingo. We have Rebecca, which we're going to look at in a second, and also Queen, especially after the regional performance this last weekend. So this one's playing a little bit more of a suite of event cards that I don't see as often. We have 3 copies of Spiderweb. We have 3 Thunderbogwas, only 2 Punk Gibsons, 2 Paradise Waterfall, as well as a Gum Gum Jet Gatling, which I think is really interesting. So all these cards are generically good, but just the fact that I like the Jet Gatling, I think is really unique, especially since we have the two events, like the 2 Dawn every turn with the leader effect. I think we're okay without doing that, but I don't know. It's interesting. I will agree that there's a lot of times I play this deck where I have like Namis in hand, I have Guilds, I have Luffys, I have 10-drop Dofis where I just can't convert them into anything. So being able to have like an additional 2k that turns into a 3k with an additional card, that does help a lot, which I think is important. So other than that, though, the deck is what we've been seeing for a little bit. It's the film package, not surprising. We try to go get a lot of value, and then we try to find our 10-drop from there and just kind of win the game off of one of those. So that's kind of what we've got. Congratulations to their win there. And then next up we have Nami. So this is Jeron on the Nami list, and I say the Nami list because this is the list that people play. If you see the Nami top, it's mostly this list with maybe 1 or 2 changes. So nothing against the player. Player obviously have to do very well and know how the list works, but it is not anything different from a list wise. So don't have much to say for it, but congratulations to Jeron for their finish there. And to wrap it up, we have our Jonathan on Rebecca, and this is a slightly spicier list than what I've seen. A lot of interesting card choices and ratios, especially since we're only seeing 2 of the Colosseum and 3 of the 7-drop Luffy, which I think a lot of people would contend this is like our win condition for the deck. The fact that we want to use this with like Gum Gum, King Kong Gun, like it's just good. But like I also would say that some people do get blinded with this card and don't realize that they can use this for any of their Dressrosa cards, and it helps out a lot too. So, but in general, though, I think this is a weird build. We're also playing like the Shirahoshi, which is a blocker, but you pay for 4, but on play give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 during this turn. So honestly, I think this is an okay card because we do kind of need some blockers at time late game, even though this is a very easy to remove blocker as well. We have also 1 copy of Cavendish, which I do like this card, and it stinks that it doesn't have a counter, and I understand why it doesn't, but there's some really cool stuff you get to do with this and good interactions with it. and then also our Sabos, and then also Monkey D. Garp. And last night I did have a tournament of my own, and I did see a player with Monkey D. Garp in the Rebecca, and it's really tempted to play this card in it because like we don't really since our leader draws a card every turn, being able to discard a card from our hand is not that expensive, and we have so many ways to get things into range of this Monkey D. Garp that you're really in a good spot for this to be like a really good removal card, especially if we already have like a Kuzan on board, which we're playing 3 Kuzans, which is a lot of Kuzans. So this is definitely a super duper like removal control build, which I think could get in trouble against some builds, but if you're trying to just be like an absolute control deck, it does a lot of good things there too. So again, not much more to say. I think this is a unique build, and congratulations to Jonathan for their finish. But that's going to be it for me. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Thanks again to PPG for releasing the event, releasing the list and running the event and having the stream as well. So make sure to check that out, and make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you liked the video. We're going to have a bunch of more OPO4 content as the month continues, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So again, that's going to be it, and catch you all next time.